Our next storyteller is Jean Naughton, and I first met Jean today, but I called her up on the telephone, and we were trying to talk to each other, but there was somebody singing very loud in the background, and it was her 2-year-old son. And when we started talking, and it was obvious that she had a story to tell that was all about singing and song. So I'm bringing up our Irish storyteller. Do you want the table that close?
No, it's, well.
I'll move it away so
okay.
we get
Actually, I might just
a
keep
shot
this
of you
here.
there.
So very nice to meet you all, and again, very nice to meet you, Elliot. So when I was a kid, we used to often go to this little kind of town. It's a fishing village in the west coast of Ireland. It's called Doolin, and it's actually where my grandfather had grown up, but he died quite a bit before I was born. But we would still go back there. And I remember one night we went to a pub called McDermott's Pub, and it was thronged. I mean, you had to fight your way to get in through the door. And you know, my mom, she was great. She'd kind of push her way in and say, excuse me, I've got 2 kids. Come on, I've got 2 kids. And it was quite normal to have kids there. I mean, it was fine. Nobody blinked an eye. And we kind of got right into the middle, and then suddenly somebody said, shh, 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 be quiet. And then from the corner, right beside the fireplace, this beautiful, haunting female voice started to sing. And then the Irish barron, which is a type of Irish drum, started do 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 do, and then the Irish tin whistle, which is called a fadog, started to play along with it. And as I was just kind of standing there as a kid, I'm just enthralled by all these instruments that are just starting to come together, and the place just is alive with music. But one of the really most exciting things was that people everywhere around us just started to play. People started just bringing out their instruments. I started to sing. It was not just a group by themselves playing. It was everyone together. And that's something I still really, really miss. For me, music and singing is just such an important part of Irish culture. And I know, I mean, most cultures are the same. I mean, music is very important for a lot of cultures. But what I have seen, what I've experienced is that somehow the way the Irish share in music and the way that they kind of participate in music is very, very special. I don't know if this is really true, but I think it maybe goes back to the times when we were invaded and we were taken over by other countries, the Normans and then the English. And I think music is always, and singing has always been a way to tell our stories, share what's happened. And very often, particularly in Irish songs, to lament and kind of complain about the plight of the Irish. And then sometimes singing for hope for the better, kind of for the future. And I don't know if anyone here has actually been to an Irish sing-song yet, but there is nothing like an Irish sing-song. Now, the thing about Irish sing-songs is that you don't have to have a pitch-perfect voice. You don't need to be a good singer. I actually have an uncle who is a really good case in it. He is pretty much tone deaf. He can't sing for the life of himself. And he knows that. I mean, he knows really well he can't sing. We know he can't sing, but that has never, ever stopped him. He will, I mean, we're at a group, we're at a party next minute. He's, come on, we're going to sing. And he suddenly is starting to sing a song. And I'm thinking, what song is that? Oh, that's okay. I got it. It's Danny Boy. Okay. And suddenly the whole group is just behind him, and 30 seconds later, everyone is singing. And it's not that you're listening to him. It's like he loves to sing. He's bringing you along the journey, and you're going to join him. And that is what I just love about it. It doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't matter even if the singing is terrible. You are there to share and join in. For instance, when we got married, very important part of the wedding was about midnight. We were exhausted, tired. We all kind of headed out back to the bar, sat down. My husband's brother, Paul, gets out the piano, and he plays until the wee hours of the morning. So 4 or 5 a.m., you're still there singing away. And that's what you do. It's not an Irish wedding without a sing-song. People can't leave. I mean, you're kind of going, when's the sing-song going to happen? I kind of need to go home. It's like, where is the sing-song? So you must, it's just part of of an Irish wedding. And it was actually something I didn't realize was so Irish. Or, I mean, again, maybe in other cultures, but I was at a wedding here in the US when I just arrived. And it's starting to wind down. People are kind of beginning to the formal part was over. And I'm thinking, okay, great, sing song. And then I'm like, where are you going? But there's been no sing song. You can't go home. And everyone was leaving. And I'm thinking, but it's a wedding. Where's the sing song? And it actually kind of made me really, really sad. So then kind of another part of my life, as you'll probably see, I've also spent quite some time in Japan. And I headed off there for college. And my first night, I actually was dancing around the grounds of the dormitory with we were carrying some kind of Japanese thing on our shoulders, and we were going, ay, 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 and singing and dancing. And I'm thinking, maybe there's a few things similar between Ireland and Japan after all. So later that week, we actually had a group of Japanese students take us out to the karaoke bar. And I'm going, okay. And there you have this group of students. You had half of us who can speak a word of Japanese yet. There was another half who could barely speak English. And we're all trying to figure out, will we go for the Hawaiian-themed room? Or will we go for the anime one? Or what about the romantic one? You know, the one where you've got these nice plush cushions that you can sit on. And so 10 minutes later, you know, we're all sitting inside in this, I think we went for the Hawaiian theme because they felt we're foreigners. We want something American styled. And so we're sitting inside, they're singing, Michelle, ma belle, or I left my hato in San Francisco. It was really, really popular at the time. I mean, I'd never heard of the song in my life, and they were like, oh, Jean, you've got to sing this one. It's the best one. And it was actually quite fortuitous because at that time, I never realized I would one day be living here in the Bay Area. But, I mean, there we were, this group of strangers just connecting and sharing this slightly bizarre but wonderful experience through music. And it was just very, very interesting. And then a few years later, I actually went back on business when I was living in the US, and I went back to Japan on business. And it was, I particularly remember one time that was it was a very tough negotiation with the Japanese company. We were not getting very far, and we just we kind of broke for the day, headed out for dinner, sitting down, still quite tense because we knew we had the next day to go. And next minute, we're kind of going, let's head on. So we're doing the nijikai. And the nijikai is kind of the after party, the party where you finally get to relax. You kind of let your hair down. You don't think about what's gone on earlier on in the day. And a few minutes later, I'm watching Tanaka-san. And Tanaka-san is trying to grab the mic off one of my colleagues going, I know that song. I know that song. And next, or you've got Minato-san, who's got the microphone, which I can't really do here, but he's swinging the microphone like this to Jailhouse Rock. Born to the party in the car. And I'm like, Tanaka, or Minato-san, Josu. He's like, you're very, very good. So it was just a very interesting experience. And so I go back into the meetings the following day, and I'm talking, you know, again, we were stuck. We weren't moving forward. Things were quite tense again, and we were kind of off in our separate little areas, and Minato-san caught my eye. And I'm like, Minato-san, karaoke, you're very good at karaoke. And he goes, so, yes, Jean-san. And then I said to him, you're very good with the mic. He goes, Jean-san. And he just broke the ice. I mean, there we were, these, again, two separate cultures suddenly coming together over music. And we moved forward. We actually got a decision made that evening. We left on great terms, and it's been like that ever since. So that, for me, was just very, very important. Now, of course, the Japanese, when they're actually, they all have a karaoke song. They all have one that they've practiced over time. And they'll have practiced probably in front of the mirrors, and then, you know, I mean, they will have it nice and polished. So it's not quite like the Irish impromptu scene, but it's still, it's this getting together and sharing and bonding over music. So then one of the things is, like, I've come to America, and I've had a wonderful experience here. I love being here. But there's this sense of loss. Now, I know most of you probably think I sound very Irish, But when I go back to Ireland, I've actually had people say to me, "Do you like it here?" I'm like, I'm Irish. And they're like, "Oh, I thought you were American." I'm like, "No, I'm Irish." But it's, for me, very much connected to that is this sense of loss of music in my life. And while, I mean, of course I go to concerts. So I listen to music with my friends. We share music. I've gone to karaoke and I've seen some very, very good singers sing. I've watched them. I've applauded and I've said, great. But I haven't joined in. I haven't been part of it. And it's being part of it that just makes it so special. I don't do these crazy last, impromptu sing-songs into the wee hours of the morning. And I miss it. So I actually have, as Elliot was saying, I have this 2-year-old who seems to absolutely adore music. At the moment, it's actually his favorite song is Happy Birthday because he's just had a birthday. And he's singing it to himself all the time. He's going around, happy birthday to me, happy birthday to me. And I'm like, great. And it's really important for me that he has that sense of music, that he has this ability to enjoy it and this passion for it. And I think his grandparents as well find that that's something that's key for them. And I'll just kind of leave you with yesterday, as I was kind of putting things together and trying to figure out how I'd finish it. He grabs my hand, he pulls me into the sitting room. He goes, "Mommy, sit down, sit down." I'm like, okay, sit down. And he sits down beside his little baby piano and he starts to play music. And I was thinking, I hope we can keep this forever. Thank you.